Hey LinkedIn, Chase Jordan live here. Today I'm answering a question I received. Happy Sunday, by the way. We're going live once again. We try to do this every single day. I'm now getting a lot of questions in my DMs, right? In my direct messages, and I'm going to try to answer them all. And 3 times this week I was asked my opinion on the Lululemon situation where the company decided to terminate some employees for defending the store in essence around where the thieves went into the store and ransacked the place, and then they're like, "Hey, we are just trying to help you here, Mister Company, Mister Man." Well, the CEO of Lululemon has come out and he said, "Look, we stand behind a decision to terminate employees that kind of got involved with the theft, tried to stop the theft." And basically, I was asked, what are your thoughts? Well, I am a CEO and I don't know all the details. I own several companies, and my wife and I own several companies, and we are not Lululemon, but we are the owners and CEOs. So the context here I'm trying to add and how I'm going to answer this is the CEO of Lululemon had his reasons. Okay, and I'm going to explain those, and they're very clear. And then I'm going to tell you what my opinion is and what I would have done with my companies, and why I would have done what I've done is very, very simple. Although you might say, well, he's the CEO, he's got a lot of pressure, this Lululemon guy, he's got to protect things, he's got to do things. And I tell you what, well, he's never signed a lease in his life that is personally guaranteed by him. We have. He has not put up his own money to open and launch and grow a company. We have. So we have way more skin in the game with the answer I'm going to give you, but I'm not judging him. He had to do what he had to do. So here's a little background. Every employee, when they're hired, bottom line, go through orientation if the company's pretty decent, and we go through the policies and procedures. And one of the policies with Lululemon was, and this is very common, if you have somebody come in and say, "Give me all your money" at gunpoint, you should look down, give them the money, back away, and let them go on their merry way, because we're insured and we don't want anybody to get hurt. And there is data behind not challenging a thief, not challenging a robbery, because there's a high chance that they leave. Doesn't always work out. People have been killed. I have a personal friend that's very close to me. That's why I'm answering this question. That he was in a restaurant, his father's restaurant, long, long time ago, back in Quebec, Canada. And literally the thief went upstairs into the manager's office where there was the safe. They were counting a deposit, around $12,000 Canadian at the time. And at gunpoint, kicked down the door, said, "Give me the money, please," and took the money and shot him anyways. And this was a very close friend of mine. I'm very close to this story. I understand why you don't fight. But he didn't even fight and he got shot. So that's the danger points, right? So at the end of the day, all of these Lululemon employees had an idea, a clue. Sometimes we read policies, we sign documents in orientation, and you couldn't test us on it because we won't remember. This happens to us in our own company. I have had the same talk in the company, my companies. If somebody walks in and tries to mess with you, you just got to give them anything they want, look down, listen to them. If they tell you to go into a corner, go ahead, and that's it. Once they leave, we will call the police because you don't want to challenge them in any way. So these Lululemon employees probably knew, had an idea. Look, you don't confront a robbery, you don't confront theft. It's just not worth it. And they don't even have that language. It's just more, the policy is, it's non-negotiable. Don't mess with people robbing us. Give them anything they want, let them leave, lock the door, call the police, call corporate, call your boss. So we get it. So that's the context of the Lululemon folks. It's standard in most companies, and people probably forget about it a little bit. So these poor employees got robbed at Lululemon, and they just kind of tried to get involved. They tried to stop them. These were not people with guns or anything, but they could have been very violent, and people, when they're backed up into a corner, could have been very dangerous. The policy, I've been on the corporate side of this, and I've been on the ownership side of this, policy is to protect us for the same reasons I just explained. Hey, if you get involved, you're more likely to get hurt. Even if my buddy didn't fight and he got murdered, for God's sake, he didn't even fight. So this is how dangerous some of these robberies can really be. So Lululemon has stood up and said, "Yeah, we got to fire you. There's the policy. It's non-negotiable. It's a zero tolerance policy," which, by the way, any company can say that. And if they mean it, that's fine. But you know how many policies are broken every year? There's probably more than one. non-negotiable, zero tolerance policy. And somebody somewhere in Lululemon had to have gotten away with something that was, hey, you should have been terminated, but you weren't. So I don't care if it was public or not with this Lululemon and there was pressure. At the end of the day, the CEO did what he had to do. He followed the policy. I don't want to say he's a coward. I think the decision is cowardly because I'm a people first CEO. My people know that. You can interview them. I'm not perfect. So here's what I would have done, because that's the question I got on LinkedIn about it. And I said, here's what I would have done. Period. End of story. Now that we know the context of Lululemon, if that would have happened in one of my buildings and in one of our businesses, and somebody would have gotten involved, pulled the t-shirt, the guy's running outside, they pulled the t-shirt, I have it on camera, I would not have fired them. I'm a people first employer. I care about my people. I'll pay for a sick day that they don't have, right? They're out of PTO, personal time off or sick time, and they're ill that day. I will literally pay them for that day. I go above and beyond for my team. I've even covered shifts for them, and I'm a CEO. I shouldn't even be in the building past just leading and developing my team. So I would have not, and that's what people want to hear, what would you have done? I would have not let them go. I would have documented the incident as a final warning with them through the progressive discipline process, which Lululemon probably had. Now, this is not me talking for Lululemon. They did what they had to do. I wouldn't have done it, even if I was the CEO. And by the way, I am a CEO, and I own the businesses. I have way more risk. I have way more to lose than this particular gentleman, CEO from Lululemon. I would have documented them pretty seriously. We would have a really good conversation. And then I would have done another training around the organization to really remind everybody. And by the way, this Lululemon is a lesson for all, because now I'm going to go back into my operations. I'm going to make sure everybody remembers what we should do. Just let everything go, give them anything they want, these robbers, let them leave. It's okay. We're insured, and our lives, nothing is worth our life. So they can literally burn the place down as long as they're not burning us it doesn't matter. So I would not have terminated. I would have given a firm written warning, or even an oral and written at once. And I would have been extremely clear on what to expect in the future. And of course, if they were to repeat this behavior, I would let them go. This is critical. If you want to this is a different time, my friends. As CEOs and owners of businesses, small or large, we got to show that we stand behind our employees. That's just my point of view. Now, at the end of the day, you make your own decision. If it's your company, you're the CEO, you're the general manager, you're the one that's going to make those kinds of decisions. But I thought I'd take a stand today on what I would have done. Oh, and by the way, I would have done it in other companies too, unless they really forced me. Now, I don't know what the driving factor was for the CEO of Lululemon. I just know what I would have done. And maybe that's why people work for us a little longer. Now, look, Lululemon is an exciting brand. People are still going to go work there. They want the discount for these overpriced clothing. That's what they really are. But they're a premium brand, and people love them, and I respect their decision. I just would have made a much different decision within my operation. I have different values, and at the end of the day, you got to look at everything from a case-by-case basis. So that was a CEO's perspective on a Sunday. I hope it helps you in your leadership role, or if you're an employee, understand that there are policies, and there could be ramifications. You got to be careful. Know your policy, know what to do in case of this, in case of that, and in case of theft. That's a tough one, especially nowadays in the climate we're living in, depending on the city you live in, depending on the company you work with. Don't fight those thieves. Let them take whatever they want, because remember, my friend, didn't even fight, and you got a bullet to the head. That's insane. I don't mean to dramatize this on a Sunday, but this is the reality of the world. So the more you can just let them go, because it's no big deal. It doesn't matter. And if you think you're trying to help me, hey, I love Chase. I want to take care of his businesses. I don't want anybody robbing Chase or robbing us. I don't want anybody robbing my Lululemon. I'm the manager here at Lululemon. I take pride in this place. It's not worth it. Remember, my friend did not even fight, and this damn guy took his life. So serious topic about serious decisions today. I'll see you again tomorrow live. I hope you join me, and tell me where you're coming from. If you listen to this whole thing, tell me where you're coming from, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for being on the podcast. See you, LinkedIn. Have a great Sunday night. Bye.